Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Patrick Perspective. Thank you all for joining me this Friday. I'm going to let you all come on in so we can get started. Alrighty. Good to see everybody. Today, we're going to get started in just a second. Let me make sure I get this shared everywhere. Please, if you are watching this, please type in where you are from. I would like to know exactly where you're watching from. I looked at the stats the other day and I saw where most of my viewers are actually from Texas and Illinois. I have some people that are in Tennessee, but most of you are living in Texas and Illinois. So I thought that was pretty cool to see. So I want to thank everybody for supporting the show. I'm going to let a few more people come in before we get started. This will be the last show for Black History Month. And I want to kind of talk about that as well. Because as you know, when you're dealing with Black History Month, a lot of people kind of get upset because you're talking about real issues. So please type in, let me know where you are from. Wow, I see some people from Massachusetts. I see people from Collierville, Tennessee. Wow, that's right up the road. Oklahoma, Colorado. Wow, that's amazing. Louisiana, Virginia Beach, Maine, Seattle. Good morning. Look at that. Somebody from Illinois. I told you. I have a lot of people from Illinois that watch me. It may be because y'all still shut down up there. That may be the reason. And it may have been because of the snowstorm. People were locked in and stuff. So I appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel, The Patrick Perspective. If you're watching on Facebook, I would really appreciate it if you just give me a like, give me a share, give me some emojis. That just kind of opens up the algorithm for other people to see this. Now, as we know, this is the end of Black History Month. And for those of you that follow me, you know that I've been talking about Black history, talking about what's going on in the Black community, really discussing issues that I think need to be addressed in the Black community. So I ask that you please subscribe also to the Patriot Post. I am a weekly columnist at the Patriot Post, and I'll be writing about it. It'll be released on tomorrow. I'll just kind of be sharing my thoughts on Black History Month, how it's basically more of symbolism than it is substance. I have no problem with, the month and people talking about, the month and, what Black people have been through. But I think it has basically just become a thing for symbolism now. Just, it really has no substance. No one is, really talking about moving the Black community forward. Now, I do appreciate what I've seen Blexit do this month. Those of you that follow Candace Owens, Pierre Wilson, who is the national ambassador for Blexit, I have been watching what they've been doing. They've been talking about Black prosperity, Black excellence. I get that, really trying to. I watched I think a podcast yesterday about how people can get government contracts with the government. And Candace Owens is putting that out there. So she is really leading the way when it comes to creating a new vision for the quote unquote Black community to move forward. Not just always looking backward at slavery and what happened in the past. So I think looking forward towards the future is a very great idea. And I'm going to be doing a lot of writing about that on the Patriot Post. Okay. Go over there. I write for them every week. Now, a lot of focus has been put on this month when we talk about Black History Month. A lot of focus has been put on white supremacy. You see that in the NBA and all this other stuff. White privilege, white power, white hatred. And And I am afraid that what is happening because of Black Lives Matter and the Black Panther movement, what is happening in the Black community, they are literally becoming the very thing that they hate. And I want to explain that. They are becoming the very thing that they say that they hate when it comes to, you know, the KKK and how the KKK believed in white power. KKK believed in white supremacy. Even though they all were Democrats, they all were created. The KKK was created by Democrats. Black people don't even know that, but they're becoming the KKK. That's why you see all of the Black power. You see all of the, you see the Black supremacy. That's what the Black Panthers were all about. They want to reign supreme. You see everybody calling themselves kings and queens and all of this stuff because they want to reign supreme in America. And the sad part is these corporations are falling for this. And I'm going to be talking next month about critical race theory. We're going to be breaking that down. Me and my friend Chris Morris are going to be really dive into critical race theory to help people understand where all of this is coming from. It's coming from our universities. It's permeating in our churches, especially the Black church. The Black church, I believe, is the most racist church that is out there right now. All they do is talk about blackness, Black Jesus, Black power, Black Lives Matter, Black, 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 Black. You don't hear about the suffering of Jesus Christ. You don't hear about the victories of Jesus Christ, the overcoming through the blood of Jesus Christ. And so I believe now the Black church is in full idolatry. That I believe there is now more Black pastors that are steeped in this idolatry than there are true preachers of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so I'm going to be exposing that on this channel. So I'm going to get a lot of hatred. It's going to be, right now I'm actually being censored by Facebook. I don't get as much reach anymore, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stay on Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, do whatever I can to get the message out, okay? Black History Month, I believe, is a good thing if we use it the right way. But if we use it to idolatrize our skin color and our appearance, if we do that, we're going backwards. We're becoming the KKK, the very thing that we once hated, okay? So I am excited about Black History Month. Next month, as I'm calling it, is Stop Blaming White People Month, Hug a White Person Month. So that's what I'm going to be talking about next month. I'm going to be talking about critical race theory, talking about we got to stop blaming white people and get back to being American and get back to what made this nation great, making America great again. All right. Now, today, I also want to discuss an issue I think a lot of people don't talk about. But again, I've told you my perspective is very different from most. That's why this is called the Patrick Perspective. All right. I'm not going to take the same angles as everyone else is taking. I'm not going to come on here and just talk about statistics. I am going to give you cures and antidotes from me actually being in the urban community, being in the Black community, growing up in it. I'm going to give you my perspective of what I've seen and what I believe some of the solutions are to the issues that we see in the urban communities. So it's going to be different. Many of you will be offended. I actually don't care. You can actually log off and go watch something else. But if you continue watching this, you're probably going to be offended because I am going to say things that no one else will say. I'm going to say things that need to be said in order for us to move forward. So prepare yourself, all right? We're talking about, right now, food deserts, urban food deserts. Now, many of you have heard of food deserts, but you don't know where they come from and why is it an issue. And that's possibly because if you're in middle class America or if you don't stay in urban areas, you travel a mile to your grocery store, okay? You get in your car, you go down to the grocery store, you get what you want, and you go home. But for many in the urban areas across America, there is a such thing as food deserts. And a lot of times we make this a race issue again, in urban areas, and even, urban areas, there is a lot of poverty, but there are, quote unquote, white people that stay in urban areas, and there's a food desert. That means that there is no grocery store or any access to affordable food. All right. All you have in these areas are basically convenience stores where they sell chicken, where they sell, Coke, Coca-Cola, or Coca-Cola now, but Coca-Cola and chips, candy, basically unhealthy foods. This is what you have in a lot of the urban areas. They actually go to these gas stations and convenience stores and they buy their food. It's even so bad to the point now where these convenience stores are taking the EBT card, which is food stamps. It's just a card now. And by the way, that really bothers me. Let me go off on this little tangent a little bit. You see all these people that like hate the flag. They're kneeling to the flag. They hate America. But then if you go to the grocery store, when these people pull out the EBT card, and when people pull out, and I have no issues with EBT. If you're in a position where, you need food for your family, okay, good. But then there are people that have made it a lifestyle, and it's just what they do. But these people pull out this card, and this card has the American flag on it. All right. Everybody's seen that card. Why isn't there a protest to get the American flag off of the EBT card? Why aren't you taking a knee every time you pull out your EBT card, your flag card, and you're swiping for groceries? Okay? That's why I can't take these people seriously. I don't take them seriously. Okay? There are people that have ate off of that flag card, and America has been providing, not just America, but taxpayers, those of us that pay taxes, we help out our fellow Americans. That's what America is about. But this hatred that's coming from critical race theory, that's coming from, these universities that they're teaching people that they're eternal victims and all of this stuff, but you're pulling out a card every week buying food for your family. But America is racist and America hates you. I can't take you people seriously. Now, that was just a tangent. But anyways, so what's really sad now is these convenience stores, because of food deserts, no access to grocery stores, no access to produce, to vegetables, to any of that. These convenience stores are now taking EBT cards. So people are literally going grocery shopping in a convenience store in these urban areas. It is a serious problem, but it's not a race issue. Right here where I stay in Chattanooga, Tennessee, there are politicians that are making food deserts in these urban communities a racist issue. And it's not that. It's actually simple economics. It is a reason why we have to ask the right questions. See, we're asking, why this is the question the Black community asks, or this is what they're saying. Why is it that the white community have grocery stores and the Black community doesn't? You just made it about race when it's really about economics. The question we should be asking is, why are businesses wanting to move into certain areas and not into certain areas? Why doesn't food chains, why are food chains not wanting to move into urban areas? Why aren't businesses wanting to move into urban areas? That's a critical question. And so I want to talk about that really quick. Because if we ask the right question, we'll find out that the question is, or the answer is really about money and economics. I'm going to be honest. Now, a lot of you are not going to like it. In this, I'm going to give you an anecdotal situation that's happening right here. All right, in the community that I grew up in, Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is an urban community, I grew up there. All right, it's majority Black community, okay? I grew up there, and when I grew up, there were grocery stores a mile down the road, and there was another grocery store a mile up the road, a Food Lion, a Red Food store, and you had all these other stores. Now Walmart is pretty big. Now, in this same community right now, There are no grocery stores. Where the grocery store used to be, it's just a flat lot, nothing there. They even tore the building down. Up the street where the Food Line was, it's closed. All they have is shops and things. Where the Red Food Store was, or now it was Food City or something, they have now taken that building, they closed down, and they took that building, and now it's a hair store. So as the Black community, instead of making it a race issue, you got to ask yourself, why would a hair store move into a place where they once sold produce, foods, vegetables? Why would the store move and a hair store move in? Simple. Economics. Selling hair in the Black community, hair products and beauty products, is profitable. Selling fruits and vegetables and other healthy foods in this area is unprofitable. It's really just that simple. When you have a business, you go into business to make money. And if you stop making money, it is no need for a business to be there. Listen to me. You don't have a privilege to have a grocery store in your neighborhood. That's not a right, okay? That's not your God-given right to have a grocery store. I'm sorry, it's just not. It is a business. And so what's happening in these communities is grocery stores are moving out because it's unprofitable. And now we got to ask, why is it unprofitable? And this is what you're going to be upset with me about. This is why the Walmart in this community that I grew up in pack their bags and they're leaving on March 26th, or they're leaving on March 6th, whenever it is. Walmart is leaving. Why? One word: theft. It's that simple. People are stealing food from these grocery stores, which causes them not to make profit, which causes them to pack their bags and leave. Yes, theft. Yes, all of you that's watching me that's mad because I said that, you all know someone, when it gets warm, barbecue time, people are stealing meats. And it gets so bad, there's now it's a culture of theft. I was talking to an older lady the other day, and she told me, yeah, I know they be stealing. And, I watched a young girl put some some crab legs into the baby's stroller. And I asked her, I said, did you say anything? No, I'm not getting involved in that. I don't want to get involved in that. There you go. When there is a no snitch rule in these communities, and you have people stealing from these grocery stores, they're stealing crab legs. And mind you, a lot of them have EBT cards. You can get some of that stuff on the EBT card, but they're stealing crab legs, and they're stealing ribs, and they're stealing steaks, and they're stealing, Little Debbie snacks. All of this stuff, it causes a store not to be able to make profit. Now, nobody wants to say this. No politician is going to get on TV and say, stop stealing. All right, Deion Sanders just had this problem with his football team with college students. All right, he's down there coaching at HBCU, and somebody walks into his office, steal his wallet, steal his phone, steal his rings, they almost stole his necklace, but he had it on his neck. And so, and the school, now this is the real issue. Please hear me, please. Deion Sanders is a perfect example of this. So they steal all of Deion Sanders stuff at a HBCU, a historically Black college. Deion goes on national TV on ESPN. Look this up. He goes on ESPN and he's pissed. He gets on ESPN and he says, I just had my first win, but I'm pissed right now because I just walked into my office and everything that I own was stolen from me. He said, I'm pissed right now. I couldn't even call my wife and talk to my wife about my first win because somebody stole my phone. Don't you know that instead of the college being upset about the theft, they were upset that Deion went on national TV and told everybody about stealing at Jackson State University? This is the real issue in the Black community when it comes to food deserts. Nobody wants to address the behavior. It is not your color. It is not your zip code. It is simply the behavior of the people in the urban community. I know y'all don't like me saying that. I really don't care because I know it's the truth. The Walmart that's moving out of these communities, Walmart went as far to make neighborhood markets, neighborhood where it was just food, where you couldn't go in and buy the electronics and all of that. And people are stealing at these neighborhood Walmarts. It's your behavior. It's the behavior of the community. Now, what happens is, and this is my problem with middle-class Black America, the Black collective, the Black elites, those of you that are educated, those of you that went to college, graduated college, those of you that hold these high positions in these corporations, these diversity people. The problem is you all continue to protect those that exhibit the behavior of stealing, of robbing, of destroying a store. You protect those people and you make it a racial issue. When the issue is the behavior. Let's deal with the culture of theft in these communities. Well, you say, well, how do you know that? I actually went and talked to managers in these communities. I'm hoping I'm gonna try to go do it with a camera. I don't know if they'll talk to me if I have a camera. I went and talked to managers at the Family Dollar store, Dollar General store, Dollar Tree, and I asked them, what is the #1 most stolen item in your store? I want y'all to guess in the comments. Guess in the comments what is the #1 most stolen item in these urban dollar stores. I got #1 and #2. I'll give you a hint. The hint is they now keep them locked up behind the counter. I want y'all to guess. Guess. They keep them locked up behind the counter now in dollar stores. Now, it's not cigarettes. I know people like cigarettes. Now, that's been behind the counter. Guess. Well, phone. Someone said phone. Okay. Someone said liquor. Nope. Not phones. Not liquor. Fake eyelashes. No, I have to look that up. But no, it's not fake eyelashes. That's actually a good one. Makeup. No. Similac. No. Baby food. No. Somebody said razor blades. No. Somebody got to get this. Hygiene products. No. Telephone. No. No. Guess. Somebody guess it. Not formula. You're almost there. Sports cars. No. It's actually, let me go ahead and tell you. It's actually headphones. Ear plugs. Earbuds. Okay? So look at that. Earphones. Earplugs. For music. So literally, the #1 stolen item in these dollar stores are earplugs. #2, it was, since they put them behind the counter now, #2 was condoms. Earplugs, music, condoms, sex. Just so happened that these two things has become the culture and is destroying the culture in these urban communities. The music that they listen to, having premarital sex before marriage. Look at how all this go hand in hand. Look at stealing. Look at the hair store moving in on a grocery store. Because here it goes. I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate mail for this, but I got to say it. I got to say it. Because the Black woman in these urban communities care more about their beauty than they do feeding their children fruits and vegetables. I'll say it again. I don't care if you're mad. Black women in the Black community, single parent home, 72%. Black women, they look really good. Their hair looks immaculate. Their nails, beautiful. Their makeup, wonderful. But their children are not eating fruits and vegetables. They're eating hot fries all the time from the convenience store, and they're unhealthy. So these direct things, there's a direct connection between our economics, what's happening economically, what people are stealing, with the culture. I call it the culture, the Black culture of failure. That's my title. I tried to find a name for it. My title for it is The Black Culture of Failure. Now, you have a Black culture of excellence, but that doesn't get talked about. We don't talk about Ben Carson being able to separate conjoined twins. They actually hate him and took his name off of the school. That's the Black culture of excellence. Grew up in the hood, grew up in a poverty situation. Mom made sure that he read. He ended up going to medical school, becoming a surgeon, becoming the first Black person to separate, or first doctor, period, to separate conjoined twins. End up being in the White House. They hate him. They took his name off of schools, off of the school, I believe in Baltimore, or it may have been Chicago, can't remember. Took his name off of the school. Black excellence versus the Black culture of failure, where the Black middle class protect those that are exhibiting these degenerate behaviors in the urban community. Now, I'm saying this out of love. Now, people are going to be like, oh, you just hate Black people. No, I'm saying this because somebody has to say it. I'm saying this because this is what's going on in our communities and why you can't move forward. You cannot develop a cure. And by the way, I've started a new nonprofit called CURE, Center for Urban Regeneration and Education. I'm starting CURE Chattanooga, CURE whatever city. You can't develop a cure to a situation until you first get the patient to recognize and admit what disease they have. And that's the issue. Nobody wants to admit that there is a disease of moral rot in the urban community. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And so we have food deserts because of the behavior exhibited in these communities. Stealing. Michael Brown, before he was shot and killed by Darren Wilson, the officer, he was stealing from a convenience store, cigarillos. Michael Brown, the whole hands up, don't shoot lie. Before, the reason the officer was headed that way in the first place, because he just got through robbing a convenience store. So this culture of stealing and the Black middle class, the Black collective, those of you that's in the sororities and fraternities, the Kappas, the Qs, the Alphas, the Deltas, the AKAs, those of you that hold these high positions, you keep protecting this class of people that is destroying the urban communities, causing stores to move out of the community to where now grandma doesn't have a store to go and get fruits and vegetables to cook for her grandchildren. Now she has to travel all the way across town to get fruits and vegetables because we refuse to address the culture of theft in the urban communities. Why do we have food deserts? Theft, economics. Businesses are not going to move in for them to be robbed, for you to steal ribs, for you to steal crab legs, for you to steal steaks, for you to steal pork chop, for you to steal beef tips, for you to steal all this stuff. Little Debbie cakes, for you to steal Coke, for you to steal all this stuff. It's theft. It's theft. Walmart said they lost $1 million per year. They lost $1 million. Not lost profit, but lost. They went in the hole. $4 million over 4 years. At a specific location where they Literally, you did everything right. The church sold the land so Walmart could build there. So this quote unquote white church gave up their land so you can have a store. They build a store, they come in, and then your managers are stealing. The people, the security that they hired to stop stealing is involved in the stealing. Managers stealing, the people stealing. They put in, okay, well, we can't, we're going to put in self-checkouts. So they put in self-checkouts all the way through, where then people just start walking through the self-checkout, stealing, theft. It ain't even a big revelation. It's theft. It's economics. No business will move into an area where they will be robbed and not be able to make money. That's why you have food deserts. So what's the solution? Okay, I just don't want to give you the problem without giving you the solution. The black middle class has to stop protecting this culture and the degenerates of the culture. Okay? Now, I'm not just talking about people. This is of all ethnic backgrounds. We got to stop protecting them. When you see somebody stealing, you got to say something. The more and more you turn your head away and don't say anything, that business is going to leave. So the black middle class have to stop protecting these people. We got to go ahead and admit it's not our color, but it's the behavior. Number two, the plan should be, we should solicit, especially in Chattanooga, Tennessee, people don't know this, but Usher, the singer Usher, is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Samuel L. Jackson is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. All right. We have people that have come from Reggie White that played football is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we have all of these, millionaires that have come from these urban areas. It's time for politicians to stop demanding that corporations put a food chain in our community, but you pool your money together, you get with these millionaires, and you find a way to start your own markets. You in the community start your own markets. How do I know this worked? Because I went to Africa. I stayed in Africa for 30 days. And what I realized in Africa, that the markets there were not chains of big companies. The markets were people that stayed in the community that grew food and they sold it to their own people. You had people that harvested pineapples. Another people had bananas. Another person had green beans. This person grew corn. Or he knew somebody that grew corn and he would go and develop a pipeline to where he could get the corn to his community. So I'm in Africa. These are people that live in below poverty. They don't have EBT cards. They're living below poverty, but they figured out a way to make sure their community eat. And that's by them themselves doing something for themselves and not expecting the government to do it for them. It's that simple. So what has to happen, we need to have our own community start their own market. And then that black person, when he's stolen from, will come out like Dion did in front of the camera and say, we have to stop the stealing. I cannot continue to remain open if you continue to steal from me. Now, when you have a black face saying that to black people, you can no longer blame the white man. You will understand that it's all about economics. So I'm willing to help right here in my city. If whatever city you're from, find out how to start a grocery store. Find out how to start your own business. That is the solution to food deserts, not the government coming in to support us once again. And people hate that I use New Orleans, but I use this as an example. Okay? New Orleans, when Katrina hit, the people that were left behind at the stadium were mostly people that depended on the government for food, housing, transportation. Okay? Most, not all, but most of the people that was at the Superdome were people that depended on the government. The hurricane hit, I believe, around the 25th. So everyone was waiting on their resources from the government to come at the first of the month. Okay, so when you get to the 25th or the end of the month, you're pretty dry. You don't have any money, you don't have anything. So when the hurricane hit, they didn't have any resources to get transportations, any resources to get food, any resources to leave. Okay, so what normally happens when you have a community that depends on the government for its main resources, you will depend on the government to bail you out when you are in a disaster. Those that had their own resources was able to put gas in their car and get on the highway and leave because they had their own resources. We have to start thinking like this. We cannot become so dependent on the government where we need their resources to survive a disaster. Our urban communities are a disaster. Government can help some, but it can't be our only resource. That's Patrick's perspective on food deserts. Call Usher, call Samuel Jackson, see if you can pool money and get some type of capital to start your own stores, store by store. Buy land, not Jordans. Buy land, not hair and nails. Buy land. That's what we have to do. Okay? Now, let me move on. I had to say all that. I don't care, Facebook may take this down because of that, but I had to say it. Now, there is some good news when it comes to those of you that have heard about Mr. Potato Head. All right. Yesterday I put up a post where I said I was going to have to eulogize Mr. Potato Head because now we have these issues in our country where no one knows what gender they are. We don't know what male and female is anymore. And so now companies, again, because of critical race theory and all these other theories coming out of the universities, are now counseling Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. Well, I went on Twitter and looked at Hasbro. That's the person the company that makes Mr. Potato Head. And they came out and clarified. And they said Mr. and Miss Potato Head will still remain. They're just going to change their overarching brand to Potato Head instead of just focusing on the Mr. Potato Head. They're just going to have the overarching brand as Potato Head, and you're still going to have your Mr. and Miss Potato Head. So I guess that's a happy medium where they're trying to meet people in the middle. But listen, how stupid have we become as Americans? How stupid to where we don't understand male and female anymore. Those of you that's watching the news, you've probably heard of the Equality Act that passed the House and is probably going to pass the Senate. We're still praying that maybe some Democrats will hold out, but I just read yesterday where I think 3 Republicans are planning to vote for the Equality Act, which is probably the most dangerous piece of legislation that we have seen in years. Okay. It's a dangerous piece of legislation. It's going to cause persecution against the church and real Christians because we will have to go into the public square and defend the word of God and the Bible as it relates to gender and sex. The scripture is clear in Matthew 19:4, where Jesus said, he said, haven't you read from the beginning that he created them male and female? Just that simple. Because our society has now removed God from its public square, from his legislative branch, from all branches of government. Now we are depending on man's mind to construct and come up with what sex is. This is not going to end. My children's children, and to be honest with you, I make these videos, I really don't make them for you all. I'm going to be honest. I make these videos so that my children's children will be able to come back when I'm dead and gone to heaven, to watch my videos and know that my daddy and my granddaddy and my great-grandfather fought against this mess. I want them to know that they are a part of a legacy that did not just bow down to the lies of the left. Okay. That's why every time I write, I think about my great-grandchildren. When I write a column, when I do things like this, videos like this, I want it to be up to where they get it, where they can sit down and understand the word of God, what it says, and how we ought to live. Okay. When it comes to this stuff, it's not going to stop. Our grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, the issue is going to be, you watch, they're going to start genetically modifying children in the womb. Okay? You know how now the doctor does a scan on the embryo to find out if it has Down syndrome or if it has some type of disease? They're going to be inputting what they want. If it's a boy, oh, I don't want it. I want a girl. Well, let's just pump some girl DNA into the boy that's in my stomach. Okay? That's why I really believe a lot of this. I'm going to be honest. This is my perspective. I'm not a doctor, but my perspective is the reason why we have a lot of immaculated men or feminine men is because a lot of these women are taking estrogen pills when they have boys in their womb. A lot of pregnant women taking estrogen pills with a boy in their womb. Our modern medicine is like, oh, give the pregnant woman, she needs estrogen, but she has a boy growing in her womb. That's my perspective, okay? I believe a lot of this stuff that we're seeing is gender dysphoria. It's a psychological issue that people have with their gender identity. What's going to start happening, you're going to start seeing them modifying the babies in the womb. You want an athletic son? Well, Alex Rodriguez is giving up his DNA, and we have his DNA, and we've broken down his DNA, and we can inject it into your son for this amount. That's how bad it's going to get. That's why it is important to teach your children the truth, because Jesus has to be coming back soon. Okay? He has to be. This is how wicked it was during the days of Noah. We think that the people in Noah's day were actually dumber than we were. I believe different. I believe the closer they get back to creation, the smarter they were. I believe that they were genetically modifying dinosaurs. That's how we had dinosaurs. I believe they were doing stuff way back then to create this utopia that God had to flood the whole earth. Even when it came to Sodom and Gomorrah, God had to destroy the whole city because of the wickedness in the land. If this Equality Act is passed, we are going to have to pray, because I believe judgment will soon follow on our government and the leaders and the congressmen and the senators. Mark my words, clip this video. If they pass this act, I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that there will be judgment for passing this Equality Act. This is why it's important for you Democrats that's watching me, especially you Black Democrats, you Christian Democrats. This is why it was important not to vote Biden and the Democrats in. Because now, when judgment comes, you are now a part of that, because you voted them into power and they passed the Equality Act that is going to persecute Christians, that's going to persecute Christian businesses. Churches are going to have to, quote unquote, hire these people that have gender dysphoria. That's what's going to happen. There are people that are now suing. The only way to fight this is going to be at the state level now. That's why it's important on your local level, get involved in local politics. Right here in my community, I'm literally the only person sounding the alarm. The district that's a food desert is getting ready to vote in a man that dresses as a woman on the weekend. I call him Clark Kent. Okay? They're getting ready to vote in this same place where I was talking about food deserts. The city councilman is a man, or the city councilman that's leading in the race right now. They're going to vote in a couple of weeks. That's leading the race is a man that dresses as a woman. So what happens, hear me, the leadership that we get is actually the judgment of God upon our communities. I'm going to say that again. I believe the leadership that we get, the leadership that we have right now, is actually the judgment of God upon the people that want the exact same thing that he wants. So we have to pray. We have to stand up against this. We have to speak out. I'm dedicating the rest of my life to speaking out. That's why I'm doing this show. Those of you that watch me, many of you ask, well, why does he continue to ask for donations? And why does he continue to do this? I cannot do this. I learned this from Rush Limbaugh. I can't do anything without my audience. I have 130,000 people that follow me on Facebook. I have 22,000 people that follow the Patrick Perspective. All I ask you all to do is to do something, because that helps me do all of this that you see. All of this costs. All of this takes time. Me getting this information, it takes time. Putting it together, telling the truth, having the courage to tell the truth and face the backlash that comes with it, it costs me something. So I ask that if this show, or if I am bringing value to you, to do something, to give something, donate something. It could be $1. But that helps me to move forward, to make better productions, and to fight. When I have an army behind me that supports me, I can fight and I can write for the Patriot Post and I can do many other different things. So I ask you, there's a description in the link, if you can, to please support the Patrick Perspective. I am going to be bringing the fire, saying things that no one else will say, and coming up with solutions that no one else will come up with. That's because I believe that God has called me to do this. So I want to thank you all for listening. Hopefully you learned something today. Again, it's the end of Black History Month. Join me next month as I talk about how we got critical race theory, one, but then how we got to stop blaming white people. Okay, it's going to be next month. It's Stop Blaming White People Month, Hug a White Person Month. All right, that's what I'm asking. So thank you all so much for joining me. Please share this video, like this video, share it with your friends. Hopefully someone will learn something. Thank you for listening to The Patrick Perspective.